Alright, Rangers fans, let's talk about what's really going on at Ibrox right now, because things are far from calm and Govan. The start to the new season has been nothing short of brutal. No wins in the first 5 matches of the Scottish Premiership, a humiliating exit from the Champions League with that 9-1 aggregate defeat to Club Brugge, and a fanbase that is quickly losing patience. Russell Martin has only just arrived, yet already he finds himself in a storm that could swallow him whole if he doesn't find answers quickly. But within all the chaos, there are glimpses of hope, flashes of something that could grow into the future identity of this team. One of those glimmers came with the arrival of Gaseima. Signed from Sheffield Wednesday for just over £2 million, the young French winger wasted no time showing what he can do on the big stage. 4 goals and 1 assist in 12 appearances may not look sensational at first glance. But remember, 4 of those strikes came in the Champions League qualifiers, a stage where the pressure is crushing and mistakes are punished instantly. That tells you something about his character. He steps up when the lights are brightest. The issue is, despite that promise, Gaseima has yet to deliver in the Premiership. 0 goals in his first handful of matches domestically leaves the fans wondering whether he can truly be the man to take over the role once held by Ryan Kent. And that's where the conversation gets interesting. Because Ryan Kent wasn't just another winger. He was a figure who defined an era at Ibrox. Signed from Liverpool, he became the heartbeat of Steven Gerrard's title-winning side in the 2020-21 season. His ability to either hug the touchline and whip in assists or cut inside and fire past keepers made him unpredictable, dangerous, and indispensable. Over his time in Glasgow, Kent racked up 33 goals and 56 assists in 218 games. That kind of consistency and longevity is rare at Ibrox, especially for a creative player under constant pressure. Since his departure in the summer of 2023, Rangers have lifted just 1 trophy, the League Cup under Philippe Clement. For a club of Rangers' stature, that's simply not enough. His absence is still felt every weekend when the left wing looks void of that spark, that chaos factor that Kent brought. Now here's the twist. While many eyes are fixed on Gaseima and whether he can replicate Kent's impact, Russell Martin might already have the answer within his own squad. The name you need to remember is Finley Curtis. Just 18 years old, this kid is quietly making noise in the background, and some believe he could be the next player to light up Ibrox from that left flank. He's already got a league goal to his name this season, which is more than Gaseima can say in domestic action. And his numbers with the B team are eye-catching, 4 goals and 3 assists in just 8 matches. Those stats scream potential, and the way he blends scoring with creating mirrors exactly what Kent used to provide. The challenge now falls on Martin. Will he trust the youngster with more minutes, or will he cling to experience in the hope of immediate results? Curtis is raw, of course, but there's something fearless about him. He doesn't look intimidated when he steps onto the pitch. He wants the ball. He wants to make things happen, and that is exactly the kind of energy Rangers have been missing. Meanwhile, Martin himself is under an intensity of scrutiny that few Rangers managers have ever faced so early. The pressure cooker boiled over during that 5-game winless streak, but the recent victory against Hibernian in the Premier Sports Cup gave him a slight reprieve. It wasn't just any win either. It was the kind of result that reminded fans of what could still be salvaged from this season. Yet, let's be honest, 1 cup win isn't going to erase the doubts. Every upcoming fixture feels like a trial, and another slip-up could see the board forced into a decision. At 39 years old, Martin is still relatively young for a manager at a club of this size, and that lack of experience is showing. Some supporters already feel disconnected from him, describing his appointment as unpopular from the very start. And when you combine that with a horrific start to the campaign, it's no wonder the atmosphere around the club has been described as toxic. But here's the thing. Football loves a redemption story. If Martin somehow steadies this ship, if he turns it around from this desperate position, it wouldn't just be one of the biggest comebacks for a Rangers manager, it could go down as one of the greatest managerial turnarounds in football history. That's the scale of the challenge. And it's not just Martin's reputation on the line. The new American owners who took over in May promised big changes and a brighter future. They backed the manager, they invested in the squad, and now, with results looking so poor, their credibility is being tested too. Kevin Thelwell and Patrick Stewart, the men helping steer the sporting project, also have their reputations tied to this gamble. If Martin fails, the fallout won't be limited to the dugout. It will ripple through the entire hierarchy at Ibrox. And yet, the story isn't finished. There's still time, still competitions to fight for, still players who could step up and change the narrative. Whether it's Gaseima finally translating his European form into the Premiership, or Curtis breaking out as the next academy gem to win the hearts of the supporters, Rangers are standing at a crossroads. The next few weeks will tell us whether Martin has what it takes to survive, or whether his reign is destined to become one of the shortest and most controversial in the club's history. What makes this whole situation even more fascinating is the way the Rangers' support is split right now. On one hand, you've got a group of fans who believe the only solution is to cut ties with Russell Martin before things get even worse, because in their eyes the damage has already been done. On the other, there are still those clinging to the idea that he deserves time, that a proper Rangers rebuild doesn't happen overnight, and that tearing everything down again would just create more instability. The tension in the stands at Ibrox is almost physical. You can feel it. Every misplaced pass gets groans. Every substitution is questioned, and every full-time whistle is met with either boos or sighs of relief rather than celebration. That's how fragile the atmosphere has become. Martin is learning very quickly that Rangers is unlike any other job. The scale of expectation here is relentless. This is a club where finishing second is considered failure, where the weight of history presses down on the manager's shoulders every single day. And it doesn't matter if you're new or if you've had a glittering playing career elsewhere. Once you step into the dugout at Ibrox, the only thing that counts is winning football matches. That's the reality he's facing, and the early results have left him with no breathing room. The recent win over Hibernian in the Premier Sports Cup did more than just put the club into the next round, though. It showed a glimpse of resilience, of a team that hasn't completely lost its fight. Players like Todd Cantwell and John Souter stepped up and gave performances that suggested there is still belief in the dressing room. But consistency has been the real problem. For every step forward, there has been a stumble backwards, and unless Rangers find a way to string victories together in the league, the doubts around Martin's leadership will only grow louder. When you look back at successful Rangers sides of the past, there was always that one player who embodied the spirit of the club during difficult spells. In recent years it was Kent. Before him it was guys like Barry Ferguson or even Ally McCoist in his playing days. Right now, there's a void. The squad has quality, but who is the leader on the pitch that the fans can rally behind? James Tavernier remains captain, and his numbers in terms of goals and assists from right back are still impressive. But even he has come under fire from sections of the support who feel his influence isn't what it once was. That search for new heroes is why there's so much excitement around someone like Finley Curtis. The kid has the energy, the directness, the confidence to take defenders on, and fans want to believe he could be the spark to drag the club into a new era. Of course, throwing too much responsibility on an 18-year-old is risky, but Rangers have a history of giving young talent a chance when the moment calls for it. If you think back to when Alan McGregor first got his shot, or when Barry Ferguson was blooded into the side, they were trusted to handle the pressure, and they grew into leaders because of it. Curtis could follow that same path, but only if the manager is bold enough to back him. At a time when supporters are demanding change and fresh energy, giving the teenager more opportunities could be exactly the statement Martin needs to show he's willing to evolve. The backdrop to all this, though, is the new ownership group. The American consortium came in with big promises. They spoke about transforming Rangers on and off the pitch, modernizing the way the club is run, and delivering success that matches the size of its support. But already those promises are being questioned. Fans don't want corporate buzzwords, they want results. They want silverware, they want nights in Europe that make Ibrox shake, and most importantly, they want to see a team that looks like it understands what it means to wear that blue jersey. Right now, they feel shortchanged. The investment has been significant, but the return has been minimal, and patience is wearing thin. Martin is effectively the face of that project, which makes his position even more precarious. If he fails, it's not just his own reputation on the line. It's the credibility of the whole ownership group and the directors who backed him. For them, it's a gamble they can't afford to lose, because the backlash from the Rangers' support would be fierce. This isn't a fan base that forgives easily when it feels the club has been mismanaged, and the anger can turn toxic very quickly. What adds to the drama is the history of Rangers as a club. This is an institution that has seen it all: financial collapse, relegation to the bottom tier, and the long climb back to the top. The supporters lived through that nightmare and carried the club back to the Premiership through sheer loyalty and belief. Because of that journey, they're even less tolerant of mediocrity now. They want the standards that were promised to them when they fought through those years of struggle. They want a Rangers side that competes at the top every season, not one that stumbles through campaigns looking lost. The truth is, Martin's Rangers tenure could go either way from here. If he finds a system that works, if key players rediscover their form, and if youngsters like Curtis take their chance, he could yet turn this season into one that lays foundations for success. But if the struggles continue, if the team keeps dropping points in the league and Europe becomes nothing but a distant memory, then the calls for change will become deafening. In Scottish football, momentum is everything. Once it slips away from a manager, it's almost impossible to get back. What we're witnessing right now is a test of character, both for the man in the dugout and for the players on the pitch. Rangers fans don't just want victories. They want performances filled with intensity, desire, and pride. They want to see their team fight for every ball, chase down every lost cause, and leave everything on the field. That's what has been missing too often in the early weeks of this campaign. Without that fight, the tactical details don't matter because the fans will never accept a Rangers side that looks timid. So the question now is simple. Can Russell Martin rally his players, win back the trust of the supporters, and prove that he deserves to lead this rebuild? Or are we heading towards another chapter of upheaval, with yet another change in the dugout and another reset of the project? The answers will come in the next run of games. And make no mistake, those matches will shape not only the rest of the season, but potentially the long-term direction of Rangers Football Club. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. James BISGROVE has sent shockwaves through Scottish football with a revelation that has left fans of the Jers both stunned and whispering in disbelief. The midfielder, known for his quiet professionalism on the pitch, dropped a bombshell that has instantly become the talk of the terraces across Glasgow. According to sources close to the player, BISGROVE hinted that a seismic change could be underway at Ibrox, one that might redefine the Rangers' strategy for the coming season. While the club has remained tight-lipped, insiders claim that the revelation involves not just transfers, but deeper shifts in the squad and possibly even at the management level. Whispers began circulating late last night, with social media erupting as snippets of BISGROVE's comments leaked from a private interview. Fans speculated wildly. Some believe a high-profile signing could be on the horizon, while others suggest that key figures in the dressing room might be preparing to exit. The aura of uncertainty has left supporters in a state of eager anticipation, with pubs and fan forums buzzing with theories. What is certain, however, is that BISGROVE's words have cast a long shadow over what many had expected to be a quiet period for the club. The midfielder's candidness has only fueled speculation further. Those close to Rangers suggest that BISGROVE's remarks were not intended to destabilize the club, but rather to signal a fresh approach, a possible shakeup aimed at regaining dominance in the Scottish Premiership. Analysts have already begun dissecting every nuance of his statements, trying to decipher whether it points to tactical shifts, new signings, or something far more dramatic behind the scenes. Regardless of the truth, one thing is clear. Rangers fans are now gripped by a sense of suspense rarely seen outside the old firm. As the days tick by, all eyes will be on Ibrox, waiting to see whether BISGROVE's revelation is the start of a quiet evolution or a full-blown revolution at one of Scotland's most storied clubs. Whatever unfolds, this rumor has already left its mark, and the atmosphere around the Jers is charged with a mixture of hope, curiosity, and a fair dose of anxiety. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.